Welcome back to another installment of Caleb's Corner. As you know, I'm Caleb Can2. Today we have a very special guest. We got Raynna Rivera here.
Hi.
We're going to be having some chill conversation. Today is going to be a more anime-focused episode. So for everybody who likes anime, get your ears up, get your notepads ready, because we're going to learn a lot, okay?
Yes.
Personally,
Yes.
I don't know a lot about anime, Raynna, so let's get that out of the way. Personally, I've seen I want to say maybe 4, 5 animes. Of course, Samurai Champloo.
Yeah.
Of course, right, obviously. 7 Deadly Sins. I've seen Hunter x Hunter just a little bit. I've seen maybe 5 episodes. I'm currently in it.
Yeah.
I'm not all the way through, but I'm very much enjoying it. That's about it, though. I don't have a lot of experience with anime, so I know it's a very popular topic right now, and it's become more mainstream than it ever has been.
Super popular.
Super popular. Would you say that you've been a fan of anime before it was popular?
Yes, 100%. So I had an uncle who lived in Japan for quite some time. He was in the Navy. He ended up marrying a Japanese woman, and they had a little baby. So I have a cousin who is Puerto Rican and Japanese, which I think is amazing. Can you imagine the trilingualness? Besides the point.
Cool.
He would send me little, I don't want to say care packages, but little gifts, which had Hello Kitty stuff and just random Japanese.
From Japan?
Yes, from Japan. Random memorabilia that I could keep for myself as a child.
Cute. Yeah.
So from there, I became very interested in Japanese culture, and at that time we really didn't have computers and stuff or cell phones. I was a little girl, and I remember turning on Cartoon Network one time super late at night, and I saw Toonami for the first time. So I got to see Dragon Ball Z, and when Naruto first came out, I was watching it on Toonami, literally the first 1 and 2 episodes that were dubbed in English. I saw it on Toonami. So from there, kind of just grew from that.
That's beautiful. Okay, so for our viewers that don't know what Toonami is, right? If you could explain real quick.
So Toonami was a late night Cartoon Network special that would show anime specifically, or animated shows. So later on you would see Robot Chicken and Family Guy.
Gotcha.
But they also had anime specials. So that actually was not a part of Toonami. It was something. It was Adult Swim at night. I can't really remember.
I was gonna say, so Adult Swim.
Adult Swim was something else. It was right before Adult Swim actually. So
Sweet.
Toonami was its own little block.
Got you, because I think Adult Swim came on at 10:30, and
Yeah,
I specifically remember an hour before that, it would be an hour of anime.
Yeah.
And so that's Toonami.
Yeah,
and so
then it would segue, it had its own outro and everything. It's just been such a long time, I kind of forgot.
Oh, don't even worry about it. That's cool, that's cool. So that's how you got introduced to anime, through your cousin.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. So he lives in Japan. What's the age difference between y'all, if you don't?
Well, my cousin's 15, so he's younger. We still keep in touch online, which is a popular messaging service in Asia, I want to say. And my uncle, I want to say he's younger, no, he's older than my dad. So he has to be somewhat in his 50s. So at the time, probably in his 30s, was when he would be sending me that stuff. But yeah, I have loved it ever since. I started to get into it more when I want to say I was in middle school, and I branched out of the TV-related ones, or the series that they were showing in America. So I was able to find the split-up little YouTube videos that they would have for Death Note, or some parts of Sailor Moon that they didn't show in America. They had the explicit stuff on YouTube, which wasn't that crazy. They just didn't want to show a gay couple in America.
Okay.
It had weird censorship back in the day, so you would be able to find that stuff on YouTube. Or I used to go on this website called Pisoja, and on there they would have all of these subbed and also kind of low-key dubbed animes. So I found Fruits Basket. I really enjoyed Ouran High School Host Club, which is a harem. I dislike harems, but that one was super special. It was a reverse harem, so you had a female lead, and all the boys were chasing after her instead of there being a bunch of
thirsty boys for one.
Instead of thirsty girls for one guy.
Boy.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So harem. So like I said, I'm a noob, right? I don't really understand the terminology, the slang. So harem is kind of slang for a bunch of guys thirsting over one really beautiful woman, or?
So a regular harem is the opposite of that. So it's like a bunch of women thirsting after one guy.
Got you.
I think really you could look at any like fantasy anime at this point in time,
sure.
and they have that theme going on. Like there's one main protagonist, and like all these girls are like killing for him and trying to get his attention. Like Akame ga Kill is like a really good example of that. It's just like he's fighting with a bunch of really strong women, and he's supposed to be the main character, and it's really weird. So I like the reverse heroes because it's literally the reverse of that.
Right.
So you have a bunch of guys thirsting over one girl, and she's the lead, and she's
I love that. That's so...
She's got full plot, you know?
For real. Shout out to strong, independent women with the fucking courage to be out here saying no to these thirsty-ass dudes. Love that.
Left and right.
Love that. So that's awesome. That's when you got introduced to anime.
Yes.
So that was like 6-7 years ago? Roughly older than that? Longer than that?
So when I got introduced to anime, I was probably like maybe 8 or 9 years old. Yeah, so I was pretty young. That was my cartoons. That was what I enjoyed watching.
I got you.
You know, I watched some Nick stuff here and there, like Cat and Dog, and even like on Cartoon Network, Ed, Edd and Eddy, but just it didn't have the same depth as anime. I felt like I was a little more mature to be able to watch those. So
I love that you just said that, because as someone who, cartoons, right? Straight up, like Avatar: The Last Airbender, I would say was probably like OG anime for me, and I wouldn't even really consider that anime, right? Because it's very mainstream, it's very American.
It wasn't made in Japan, so that's another thing. Anime to be considered anime, has to be made in Japan. Like the studio has to be there. There has to be some type of element that it was, you know, either partially created in Japan, because you know Netflix has like collaborations with studios, so stuff like that happens. But for it to be anime, it has to originate from Japan. And I'm not sure the origins of the Avatar story. Like, I feel like it's based off of Chinese mythology.
I was gonna say,
don't quote me on that.
I won't quote you on that.
Yeah,
but I mean, from the vibes that I've been getting from it, you know. So I'm very glad that you said that. So anime as a culture and what it encompasses is it has to be made from Japan.
Yes.
And that is considered an anime. Cool. Yes. So as someone, like I said, who doesn't really have a lot of experience with anime, the way that I got introduced to it, as far as the animation style and the culture and what we were referencing earlier as far as depth, right, is my cartoons were not depth like that, right? Like, I mean, I had Courage the Cowardly Dog, like, stuff like that, right? And that's low-key scary for children and stuff.
I know.
But, like, it gave me, like, ridiculous freaking visions. I was like, why am I watching this show as a child?
Crazy dreams.
But Avatar: The Last Airbender, on the other hand, on Nickelodeon, right? Like, they did a really good job, I feel, of encompassing a very deep but childlike story.
I mean, a pretty strong female lead too. Katara,
without a doubt, love Katara, bro. She was, and then literally the Legends of Korra, right?
Yeah.
Like the exact spin-off of Avatar: The Last Airbender, which once again is not really considered anime, just due from the definition that we just had. It was not made in Japan, which I love knowing now. But the animation style was just as rich, it was just as deep, and it was, of course, a female protagonist who was strong. She was stubborn. You know, she had a hard head, and she was like, I'm going to do things my way, and you know what? I might mess up, but I'm going to do it my way no matter what, and I'll learn from those mistakes. You
saw in her progression and, like, the impact of the world around her, it, like, definitely left its own imprint within her life, and, like, also within her own abilities, so.
That's a really great way to say that, right? Because Avatar: The Last Airbender, we focus on Aang and his squad, and it's about him as a child being an airbender that's been gone for 100 years. Korra is post-Airbender. So, like, post-Avatar, like, the world is fixed because the Avatar has come back. Fixed, right? And so then we have this idea of Republic City, right? Where everybody comes in and they're all benders and everybody can live their free life. But Korra comes in as the Avatar thinking it's the greatest thing ever, and she finds out that within every system there's corruption, you know, there's obviously
it's like a heavy police presence in that show, like
ridiculously heavy police presence. There's a whole lot of
supposed to make it modern, because to me it was
it was a little but we love to see Korra, like, going through the actions that she does, making the choices that she does as a female Avatar, going through her own choices of, like, well, I get it, Aang did it this way, but I'm gonna do it this way because I'm the Avatar and I'm going through my own journey. And so it was really good to see the parallel from, like, okay, it's 100 years, you know, in the past, and then Korra, like, it's so steampunk. I love how steampunk it is because like you see a lot of technological advancements that there was no way was in Avatar: The Last Airbender. It was like 100 years, past. So it's really great to see that advancement, but not so far to where it's like
over the top. It doesn't lose like the essence of the show.
Exactly. It's steampunk. So I love saying that because there's no cell phones. There's not like, hey, we're on the other side of the world, but you can send me a text real quick and we'll be there. No, it's like you have to travel.
This is literally like the Industrial Revolution.
That's exactly what it is. Industrial Revolution, right? We got radios, we got monitors, things of that nature, but it's not too technologically advanced. And so I really enjoyed that aspect of Legend of Korra, but that's really all that I have as far as experience.
You could put Avatar in its own league, like its own little box.
Would you say that?
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah, like high tier, high depth animation, and also the storyline is just awesome. It's really like chaotic, but also grounding at the same time.
Wow, that's a great way to say that.
So amazing. I love Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I love that you said that because I would low key put Invincible into that category, right? Not because like it's a children's show. Invincible is really good animation. I don't know if you guys have seen that Amazon Prime original. It's a really good show. Yeah. I just finished it. It's more superhero based. It's a little explicit, right? Because it's on HBO Max, so they have some cuss words. Incredibly graphic. Yeah. You're not watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, guys. Like the fights that they get into are legit. Yeah. You see blood, broken bones, like death. It's a real graphic show, but it's so good. The plot line is really good. The story that it has of like trauma and the protagonist being invincible, you see his story and like what he has to go through. And I love the fact that like a lot of superhero origin stories are, oh, I love my family so much and then they passed away and now I have to carry on their mantle. Invincible, without giving anything away, is the opposite of that.
Yeah, it's like in reverse. Like
So it's really interesting to see that perspective. It's kind of like if Clark Kent came down with his dad, except his dad was like Zod from Man of Steel. So that's all you need to know, and it would be really good if you guys watch it. But I would consider that in that category, Avatar: Last Airbender. It's not necessarily anime.
It's really good.
Really good animation, really good plot line, very deep. So that's awesome. So anime is a culture from Japan. Would you say that it's been around longer than America has really made it mainstream, or?
Yes. So anime was, I want to say, originated in the 60s, and it wasn't super popular back then. Not on, like at all a global scale.
Right.
It did become popular in Japan, and they started to export it more frequently around the 80s. So during that time, you saw stuff like Sailor Moon and Hajime no Ippo, which is a sports anime. It's a boxing anime that's still ongoing. It's been going on for like 40-something years.
Wow, that's incredible, dude.
It's a really good story. I would recommend people to start with that one if they like the essence of a come-up story or like a shonen story.
Wow, nice.
So shonen is like it means young boy in Japanese, and another example of like a shonen would be Naruto. So it starts off young boy. You could even say like Avatar's a bit shonen as well because he starts off young. You see his progression and his growth.
Definitely.
I'm trying to think of what else. Hunter x Hunter is also a really good shonen as well.
That's a great
literally
example.
Just a bunch of kids like fighting.
I would say, I don't know if you've seen Seven Deadly Sins, right?
I haven't.
So it's kind of similar. Meliodas is like low key 5,000 years old, but he's also a child. Like he's in the form of a boy.
Yeah.
So shonen is really just like young boy growing into the person that he's becoming.
His come up, the glow up, like.
Shout out to the glow up, bro.
Shout out to the glow
it's
up.
real. We love to
It
see
did
it.
good. It did Caleb good.
We out here, guys. We out here. Caleb's Corner, right?
Yeah.
And so you would say that anime has got more mainstream recently, right? So like early 2000s.
I can pinpoint the point in time, like when it became super big. And I want to say, and I will give all credit to Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli for making Spirited Away. That was the top-selling anime movie of all time for the longest time, right? And that put anime like on the big screen. So a lot of people went out to see it, kind of like the same way you would go out to see like a Disney movie. They didn't really know what they were getting into because I mentioned before, like I mentioned before, anime is a lot deeper. It's not just a kids movie. She's literally dealing with the fact that she's growing up. Like but her parents turn into pigs. Like, how do you explain that to someone, right? You just have to experience it.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen Spirited Away, hopefully you have. Hopefully someone showed that.
Guys, a little bit of culture, right?
Oh, just something.
If you haven't seen it, watch it.
Yes, please. It's so good.
Watch it. And even if you don't like anime, bro, great story. Like, it's
That's not even my favorite Studio Ghibli movie, but I will recommend that to everyone. If you like that one, you should watch Castle in the Sky right after that.
Wow.
Yes.
Boom.
That is also another movie that was made in the 80s. So there's a lot of like Studio Ghibli movies that came out during the 80s that became popular later on. So like when Spirited Away came out, I want to say more people started getting exposed to it because they had access to the internet. The same way that I discovered it through YouTube and like these off-brand kind of websites is the same way other people found it.
Right,
and then you start seeing the creation of anime conventions, right? So you have like small little pockets of people enjoying this together. They spread the word about it. It's like a global phenomenon.
Without a doubt.
And another thing is, for a really long time, America had copyright issues. I was actually having this conversation with someone today. So,
love that.
Yeah, there's an anime that is super popular in Mexico and super popular, I guess, like in South America, just in general Spanish-speaking countries, because they got the rights for it first. It's called Saint Seiya. So if you ask any person from Mexico or like South America about Saint Seiya, it is this super popular anime from like the 80s, 90s era. It's kind of mecha, which is like robots.
Yeah, I love mecha. Shout out.
Yeah, and it has like a Power Ranger vibe to it, kind of. Yeah. It's
love that.
I've only seen a couple episodes.
Similar to Killer Killer?
Not so much.
Okay.
No. It's a little bit older.
Okay, shout out.
Yeah, so it's a little bit older. If you like that older like animation style, I can recommend that and Hajime no Ippo because I've seen them both.
Right.
Not to their entirety because they are literally like hundreds of episodes long, but
that's a lot. Yeah,
they're very good. But the reason that we didn't have that and how we really love, I say we, it's like America loves Sailor Moon. Literally, Sailor Moon is all over the place. Is because we got the rights for that, and we were able to show that on a mass scale, and it appealed to like little girls and stuff.
Female protagonist and all.
Yeah, Saint Seiya also had really good female protagonists as well. But because we didn't have the rights for it around the time that it was super popular, we just missed out on that. Like, you ask a lot of people here, like, what's Saint Seiya? Like, they don't know. And I didn't know for quite some time, and I'm, like, literally growing up on anime, and I never saw it until I physically seeked it out on the computer. So.
It is crazy how copyrights, like, literally rule our world.
Yeah.
Like, copyrights weren't even a thing in America until, like, Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Like, Mickey Mouse is literally the oldest copyright in America, and it's crazy how everything has stemmed from that. And so Disney has owned copyrights on Mickey Mouse for like 100+ years. Yeah. And low-key, their copyright is coming up soon, like the end of that time frame, because copyrights end. Like, you don't get a copyright forever. You have to renew your copyright.
Speaking of Mickey Mouse, have you ever played Kingdom Hearts?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, I stream Kingdom Hearts, and yes,
I know that. I love Kingdom Hearts.
Love
oh my gosh.
Kingdom Hearts. Oh my god. I just finished
Yay.
Kingdom Hearts 1, ladies and gentlemen, fantastic. I just finished Kingdom Hearts 2 within like 2 weeks ago. And when I tell you,
Kingdom Hearts 2 is my favorite game. I also really liked like the little like handheld games that they released. So like Chain of Memories was really good. I love Naminé. There's something about her. She can literally, I think she's like one of the most powerful people there. She can literally rewrite people's memories. As long as they get into the Castle of Oblivion,
the
she can do whatever she wants.
Point, yeah.
So what if they like put Xehanort into the Castle of Oblivion? And she like rewrote his memory. She could have saved the whole world. They just
she really could have saved the whole world.
Into
That's an
the
interesting
Castle of Oblivion.
Oh my gosh. So for those of y'all who don't know, Xehanort is the main antagonist of Kingdom Hearts 2. Yeah. And
just put him in there.
I literally I just beat this game, ladies and gentlemen.
Put him in a pod.
It took me an hour. I'm not even kidding you. It took me an hour on that final boss. And I was so upset, guys, because when I tell you that I had it first try, but they don't give you the instructions to the game. You just kind of got to like figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I got to a point where I was so fed up that I just looked up the instructions because I had it first try, and then for an hour I couldn't get back to that spot. And I was so personally like defeated. I was like, there's no way I'm not beating this game tonight. Like I just spent an hour trying to beat it. So I went to the guide, low-key, went through a walkthrough, and everything I did was right except for the end where you need to press 2 buttons instead of 1. it only tells you on the screen to press 1, but you have to be pressing 2 in order to save your co-partner in the final battle. And it's like, dude, if you would have told me that, I would have saved an hour of my time. But it's whatever. It's whatever. We beat the game, and the story on Kingdom Hearts 2.
Well spent.
Well spent. I fucking love that game, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you that if I didn't play that game personally, I would have watched the gameplay on like YouTube or someone stream it, because it's a really well thought out game. I love the animation style. I love Disney. I always have. Like
I just wish. So honestly, in the third one, it's all about Disney. They got rid of all the Final Fantasy characters, and that was kind of upsetting.
Weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
I've never heard that, because like Final Fantasy
was a huge part of the first game.
It was huge. Like you have at least 3 or 4 characters that are in. You fight them like as additional characters. It's really cool when you're playing the second game. And I didn't know, because I'm trying to stream Kingdom Hearts 3. So if you guys haven't seen my stream yet, you definitely still have a chance to catch it, because I'm going to start streaming Kingdom Hearts 3 soon. But I didn't realize that they took out a lot of Final Fantasy.
They did. I got about halfway through that game.
Final Fantasy?
No.
Oh, Kingdom Hearts.
3.
Gotcha.
I've only played like maybe one Final Fantasy game. I think it was like Final Fantasy 13. It's just one of the ones I didn't really like talk about. Because my parents were like very selective about the video games that they bought me.
Sure.
Kingdom Hearts seemed like kid friendly because it had Disney characters in it, so that was like really easy for me to ask for. But like Final Fantasy, some of the characters are like very scantily clad or clothed.
A little risque.
And they didn't know what it was about, so they were like, we're not gonna buy her that. They're fighting and stuff.
I got you.
But yeah. I want to say that the presence of the Final Fantasy characters is definitely missing in the third one, and something really sad happens at the end. But I won't spoil it.
Please don't. I don't like when people spoil a game, so no sweat. I'm very excited to play it though. So watch me. I stream on Twitch, guys. Caleb's Corner Pod. You already know. It's gonna be a good time. I'm having a good time.
I'm having a good time.
She's having a good time. We're not even streaming it yet, y'all. So you definitely should watch it. I love that you just brought up Kingdom Hearts, right?
Yeah.
But
it's not an anime.
It's not an anime.
Yeah, you got like animated characters that are reminiscent.
Without a doubt.
And like Square Enix, if I'm not mistaken, is also like a Japanese company too. So,
I'm pretty sure.
like,
shout out to Square Enix, bro. Any Square Enix game is like fire. Love Square Enix games. Oh my god, did they just release a Guardians of the Galaxy Square Enix? I'm pretty sure that was released today. Guardians of the Galaxy game came out today. It was released it wasn't released, but like the announcement released today, and I'm very excited because the graphics are insane. It's Guardians of the Galaxy, it's space.
There's a lot of animes that have corresponding video games and vice versa. So like that's just like another way for them to, I guess, make money, but also a way for us to enjoy
the content, right?
Exactly, and the characters. So like when I was younger, I had a Naruto fighting game. Like,
wow, love that.
it was fun. Like honestly, it was pretty fun. I also had like a Dragon Ball one too, if I'm not mistaken. So it usually starts with the anime and then branches out to different things, right? So you got like movies and video games, merch, all this other stuff. But sometimes it does start with a video game and then goes to an anime. I can't give you like a really good example, excuse me, but the older games that I did play, I really enjoyed, and it just allowed you again to like immerse yourself more into the content. And sometimes, you would hear like the same voice actors. Sometimes it'd be a little bit different.
Right.
But it was enjoyable either way. Like another way to immerse yourself into that universe.
I love that. So you said that you had a Naruto game and a Dragon Ball Z game. So you finished those all the way through?
Not all the way through. It was literally just like 1v1 fights. It wasn't adventure
No,
stuff.
I'm sorry. I meant the shows. You finished the shows. You finished the shows all the way through.
So Naruto, when he was younger, like the first Naruto, yes, I finished all the way through, like Orochimaru, all that good stuff. But we...
And then Shippuden, right? Naruto Shippuden.
Fell off in Shippuden. We had a lot of fillers there. I only watched about halfway through.
Oh, wow. I've heard that, actually. It's like half of the episodes are just like wasting time. Well, not wasting time, but filler episodes.
Wasting time. Yes, I felt like they were wasting time, honestly.
I mean, that's what I feel are filler episodes, but to everybody who makes them,
I know the purpose.
You're doing your thing. You're doing your thing.
So I think they made fillers because they were waiting for the mangas to be released, right? So we're waiting for that, and they're just like making up all these little side stories. There's even like guides that you can go and find, and it'll just tell you like which episodes you can skip. Like it's
so most anime is based off of the original manga.
Most. One that deviates hella is Tokyo Ghoul.
Got you.
Don't watch the second season of Tokyo Ghoul. Just don't. The first one's fine. It's pretty good.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that because, like, I really wish that Game of Thrones would have done more filler episodes in season 8 as opposed to them making an entire season without the book being finished. So
that's weird. Yeah, they should have just waited.
They should have just waited. And now we have 2 Game of Thrones shows like coming out that are prequels because obviously the book still isn't written yet and they've already finished the show.
That's
but
weird.
Everybody who's a Game of Thrones fans is very excited for those shows because we get to immerse ourselves in the content. We get to a little bit more context onto the reality that we're already established in. So it's really good. But if they had done that with Game of Thrones, I can guarantee that all the fans wouldn't be salty about season 8 because we would have had more context about all of the characters we already love instead of you guys just doing your own thing and making your own story about the characters that we love. And
I would hate that. I'm so sorry that happened.
It's okay.
Game of Thrones fans, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That's so confusing.
Honestly, I'm brand new to the series, right? I wasn't even in it, but now that I'm in it and I saw all of it to completion, it broke my heart.
Oh, well, that too.
It broke my heart because, like, the series is over. The series is already over. Season 8 was the last season.
Oh, okay.
And they did their
Prequel
thing.
time.
They did their thing, exactly. So prequel time now. And I'm excited for that, but, I mean, I would have loved for them to have done that, right? To wait for the mangas. So Shippuden is its own thing.
Yeah, Shippuden's its own thing. And then you also have Boruto, which it's fine. Like, if you kind of want to see what happens to their kids, I don't really care. I'm fine. I think I watched a couple episodes with like Sasuke because I was curious because I had no idea that he had a child with Sakura and I was like, alright, this kid is cool. But screw him for not being like a present father. Like you think he would be there for his kid and he's just like out and about like missing an arm. Like I don't know. It's weird.
What?
He's missing an arm. Like it's a fight, I guess.
Okay. Well, that's kind of interesting.
And he's just rude. Sasuke's a weird character. He's like emo boy. Honestly, don't think. Okay, so. I'm one of those people where if I see a trio, I think the main character should be with the girl. Like, literally, like in Harry Potter, I thought, oh, you know, Harry should be with Hermione because she's the brains, and I got the bronze, you got the brains. But I felt like they worked together, but I guess not. Like,
honestly, it's funny that you bring that up because
I thought Naruto and Sakura were going to be together, but they didn't.
What's her name, the person who wrote Harry Potter?
I don't want to talk about her.
I'm asking what her name is, though. What's her name? J.K. Rowling. Love you, girl. Anyway,
I hate her. No.
I know. She'd be going through it right now, right? She
just needs to be quiet. And
she has a lot of context. She needs to stop tweeting. Anyway,
delete her Twitter. Delete the Twitter. Who is her publicist? Like what?
Anyway, going back to J.K. Rowling, she even admitted she was like, so the reason that I had Ron and Hermione together was because personally, I always had this like fantasy of the best friends ending up being a couple.
But were they best friends? I didn't get that from the movie.
They were all best friends. You know, it was a squad. Nice. And so like she ended up making that romantic relationship because that's what she wanted. But why is it always
like the weird, like no, I don't want to say weird. Why is it always the shy girl that's like off in the corner being just like like super like oblivious, you know, just crushing over this guy, and then eventually he like falls in love with her. Like I really didn't see any interactions between Harry and Ginny that really made it like a relationship worthy thing.
There was definitely
maybe like a fling, but like getting married, come on. And same thing with Naruto and Hinata. Like she's just over there like like I got cool eyes. I'm gonna save your life real quick, and now he's in love with her. So there's like a weird savior complex there. Why can't the baddie,
savior complex,
like who is smart, who is strong, getting through the series, saving lives, erases her parents' memories to be with her friends, to save her friends' lives? Like, why doesn't she end up with, like, the protagonist? Maybe she's too good for Harry, but she's also too good for Ron. Like, let's be real. Like, I'm sorry.
Way too good for Ron. That's a hot take, ladies and gentlemen. I love that.
Yeah.
Way too good for Ron. Let's pull that up right now. Hermione Granger.
I know. Maybe
I'll take you right now, right?
Like,
I ain't Ron,
she's just a baddie.
but I'll take you right now.
Yeah, like you're Ron? Did you just say you're Ron?
I said I ain't Ron.
Okay.
But I'll take you right now, Hermione.
Okay.
It's that simple, right? So, that being said, I love that you said that because even J.K. Rowling was like, you know what? I guess I wanted it to be, but I could totally understand why Hermione and Harry should have ended up together.
Yeah.
Because the whole time you're watching the series of Harry Potter and you're like, obviously the smart girl should be with the protagonist.
It just, it makes sense.
You know?
It's easier. Like, going back to like some animes, I mean like Inuyasha had like a main character, Inuyasha and then Kagome, they were always traveling together, they were friends, but there was always like a hint of a romantic relationship, and eventually they like fall in love because she literally looks like the girl that he used to be in a relationship. I think she's like the reincarnation. I really don't remember. It's been such a long time. He definitely has a type. Inuyasha has a type, and it is not me. But that's okay. It makes sense. They traveled together. They saved each other's lives many a times.
Right.
And now we have like a really great spin-off with their kids, and it all comes together. There's no weird shy girl. Like his ex-girlfriend does come back from the dead. But
that's a little sketch.
That's a little sketch. And there's a reason why they didn't end up together. But he's with Kagome, they got their kid and stuff, and she's like really gender ambiguous and like just fighting stuff, like fighting demons.
Good for her.
So
or they.
cool.
Good for they.
I don't remember if they refer to them as they pronouns. I think it's she.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Good for
bro.
her. Good for her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I love that. So that being said, right, what would you say is like true anime? So we've talked about anime as a culture. We've talked about anime as when it got present and when it got popular in today's society. What would you say is like true anime? Like
true anime?
The classics, the precedents. What has set up anime for today's society, for modern times, and what will set up anime for the future?
So I think I'm going to talk about Samurai Champloo a little bit and why it's lasted so long and why it has like a lasting impact. So
love it.
Although it's set in feudal Japan, the very first scene in Samurai Champloo is of like a very modern day Tokyo at that time.
Right.
So like there's a guy jumping up to a beatbox, and then you have like this really cool like rewind scene, and now you're in feudal Japan. Like you're literally in the exact same spot that this huge city was like literally on top of like a couple moments ago. And then you also have like elements of rap and Nujabes was on the track, so it's just like this fresh sound that has continued to this day. Ooh. Highly recommend Samurai Champloo to anyone.
Please watch
Honestly,
it,
that could be someone's first anime. I think that was what I told you to watch.
Literally, guys. I
so
really wasn't into anime, and then she recommended Samurai Champloo to me, and I was like, I'll give it a try, and I fell in love with it. There's only one season, so it's hard to like. If you're someone who
I hope they don't make another one. It's literally
it ended
perfect.
Perfectly. It was such a great score.
Yeah.
The animation, the cinematography.
Yeah.
Like I can't hype it up enough, right? And so to have a show that only has one season and ends so well is so rare. But I think with anime, like
it just happens naturally.
It's so natural. They do that so well. In today's society, in American society, it's more, okay, we need to make money, right? We need to make money. We don't care about story.
Season after
we need
season
to make money.
Season.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
There's no substance.
Substance.
Yeah.
When it comes to anime, that's what she was saying earlier, right? When it comes to deep cartoons, that's why Avatar: The Last Airbender is in its own series.
Why it's so successful.
Exactly, because it's got that substance, but in today's society, and a lot of American shows that I see anyway, they don't have a lot of substance. It's more just content. Let's produce it and get it out there.
Yeah.
But with Samurai Champloo, every episode is substance filled, and it's just every episode makes sense. And even the finale is like, I feel good. I feel good with this ending.
And there's people that in a perfect world might have survived.
Right. Exactly. I mean,
it's real life. It's feudal Japan.
It's real life.
Yeah.
And you see that. It's a graphic show, guys. And
they even have like a brothel house scene. It's nothing too crazy.
It's
but
not
again,
that bad at all.
Very like realistic of the times, and I'm glad that they included that in there. I really enjoyed that show. But I want to say that anime has lasted so long because it had that like elements of like modernization.
True.
That other shows at that time were just not getting the program with.
So it was like, I don't want to say left behind, but just weren't keeping up with the times.
Yeah, and also very focused on like the Japanese environment or like things that really only happen in Japan or like conversations that are only held in Japan. So a good example for that is Lucky Star. Lucky Star is an anime about 4 girls who are just in high school. One is like really smart, one is kind of dumb and lazy, but she's like an awesome video gamer. One is super shy, and then another one's just like the haughty brains girl of the group, like the pink hair, glasses girl, and she's a little bit taller than them. She's super cute. But it's literally No, so they're all like protagonists, I guess, but
it's a show about all of them.
Yeah, they're all friends. It's just a group of friends.
Shout
and
out,
literally every single episode, they have like really lengthy conversations that, at the time, this is what I thought when I saw it. Only Japanese girls would talk about at length. So they had like these, like in the first episode, it's all about like these little cream puffs that were only sold in Japan, or they go to like the beach. I don't have easy access to the beach. Like just every anime also has a beach episode too.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just. I think that came out the same year as Samurai Champloo. Don't quote me on that. It might have been 2 years before, 2 years after. It's around that time period. But again, just like schoolgirl anime type vibes. What else came out around there? I think Death Note came out around that time too, which Death Note, again, it still has this element of freshness because it's in like a modern Tokyo setting, and there's also like demons, which I don't know, people really like demons anime, Demon Slayer.
Yeah,
so
literally.
Anything with demons has lasted, and then I'm trying to think of what else. I guess like nowadays, oh my god, what are they called? So there's different genres to anime, and there's definitely been like a resurgence in mecha style animes, which are like robotic animes. They've always been kind of fresh, but I feel like a lot of people are more open to watching them now than they were before. So for me, I never watched Gundam, right? I kind of just skipped over it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about Gundam. It's referenced a lot in pop culture too. Like I don't know.
I just was not a mecha girl, but you know what? I did watch Gurren Lagann through its entirety, which is a really great show. Highly recommend it, especially if you don't really like mecha. They kind of make it cutesy, which is the type of animation that I like. So from there, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give Neon Genesis Evangelion a try. So I watched that, and I tried watching Gundam, still a little too much for me, but I was able to get through Neon Genesis, and it was a pretty decent story. I'm glad that I watched it. I'm glad I can say that I finally watched it. And I was also, for a really long time, putting off Cowboy Bebop, which again is set in hyperspace, and now it's like my favorite anime besides Samurai Champloo.
Cowboy Bebop.
I have it in my car. Like,
it's also up there with one of the goats of anime. Like
they're made by the same person, so
of course they are.
I don't know why I put it off. I don't know.
Of course they
are.
Know. Why would you do that to yourself?
I don't know. I think just too many people were talking about it, and I was just like, underground stuff, you know? And then also, so there's another one that came out around that time too, Fully Cooley, FLCL. It is only, I think, 6 episodes long. And
wow, that's weird.
They made a spin-off for it, which I don't think they should have made. I didn't watch it, but it's another, like, I guess you could call it a shonen, but it has an element of mecha, and it's also, like, I don't know, kind of risque for the time. They would have, like, the reason that I found it was that they would show it on Toonami consecutively. They had like little FLCL marathons. I don't know why.
Shout out.
It was pretty cool because you got to see the whole thing. And I'm just sitting there like, what's this? Hopefully my parents don't walk in because there's some scenes I'm like,
literally, right? As a kid, you're always kind of like, oh, I want to watch this, but I hope my parents don't walk in. That's funny as hell.
Anime and movies go hand in hand.
It's so funny you say that because we were just watching Kill la Kill earlier, right?
Oh,
and like
that's over the top. Like
it is over the top. I was sitting here watching these episodes, right, and it's like, and I'm like, what is going on right now? All I'm seeing is just freaking flying in the air right now. I don't even understand. I was just watching a cartoon, and now we got titties just popping, right? And so that's hilarious, just because. I mean, it's animation, you know?
There's different types of anime so that you can avoid that, too. Yeah, so there's, like, different genres. I would probably put that in, like, ecchi territory. Ecchi. I think the only reason, maybe people do put it in that already, but the only reason I wouldn't put it in there is because it does have, like, a cutesy animation style, and I don't think they show, like... So I think like whole boob would be more hentai, and then ecchi is like very risque. I'm gonna say Kill la Kill is ecchi because it's got a lot of female body parts just flying around, but they never show full nip.
They never show full nip, ladies and gentlemen. We got pasties, we got dental floss if need be.
Yes, if need be. That's it, right? Nothing else.
Never full nip though.
Yeah, no full nips. That would be more hentai territory. And then just like regular anime is just anime. Like, it doesn't really have a tag to it. That would be more of a tag rather than a genre.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, so there's Kill la Kill's anime. It's more of like a, like fighting kind of superhero type thing. I really don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's
like
very
all over
much
the place.
Superhero.
Or like Supergirl.
I kind of want to compare it to like My Hero Academia, except female protagonist.
Yeah,
and I love that about it.
It's kind of like Magical Girl, but it's again like its own show. I think Trigger Animation has done that for a lot of stuff. So like Darling in the Franxx is also another kind of mecha anime. It's again very risque, and I didn't really enjoy it too much. But Gurren Lagann, one of the people, I think Trigger Animation Studio actually spawned from someone who worked on Gurren Lagann, and then they went over and created their own animation studio.
Sure.
And they just made all these really great shows. So highly recommend Kill la Kill if you want something fun and like flirty, I guess.
Cute. Okay.
There's a couple of like really fun characters, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Kill la Kill. Darling in the Franxx, not so much. You can kind of skip through it. Aside.
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 All right, I love that. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is we've gone over what anime is. We've gone over where it originated from. We've gone over when it got popular here. We've gone over what true anime is, right? The classics, the precedents, right? And so now what I want to hear, Raynna, is what are your personal favorites? And what would you, overall, as someone who maybe just started getting into anime, or even someone who has been into anime and maybe they just want to rewatch something really good, what are your personal recommendations? Favorites and recommendations.
Favorites and recommendations. Favorites are Samurai Champloo, 100%. That's like my favorite. Cowboy Bebop, I mean, yeah, it's good. Not as good as Samurai Champloo, in my opinion.
Same person, right? So don't take that as in like, oh, it's bad. It's the same person.
Same creator, yeah. Same writer. There's one that I really enjoyed and I recommend to people. It's Shinsekai Yori. So that's like, it's called Of a New World or From a New World, and it's about like these kids who have psychic abilities, and they go through trials in school with these psychic abilities, but there's also like this really dark element. When the kids are not good enough, they kill them. Like, they don't want them there.
It's like Spartan. It's like 300 out here.
Kind of. So the premise of the story is that the world was normal, and all of a sudden people started developing these like really crazy mind abilities. So you have good people who have it, and then bad people, and the bad people started just fucking shit up. So they created like their own little pod, and it's just like about these kids learning how to use their magical abilities, but there's also like it's just a very interesting show, and it has a lot of darker elements in it, but the story itself just goes someplace that you would not expect it, and it is amazing. I was left like jaw open for the last final episode. Like, I did not know what I was watching at that point. I was like,
that's crazy.
What the fuck just happened? Like, it's really good. It's super good. And then I kind of like animes that touch on death. A lot of them already do. But one that kind of struck me, and one that I like watched, all together in one sitting late at night, was Death Parade. That is literally about judgment. So there are people who die, and they end up in this otherworldly space, or I guess like the middle, right? Afterlife, yeah, in limbo. So they're in limbo, but it looks like a bar. So they're there playing bar games, trying to basically show their true colors while playing these games. And there's like an arbiter who basically decides if they're going to be reincarnated or sent to
He's like the bartender.
Yes, he's the bartender. And he has a girl with him who's also helping, I guess, put out those judgments as well. And she was like recently human. So she has all of these human emotions, and she's trying to tell him like, no, like this person is good for reincarnation. But for him, he's just looking at it based on the facts. Like, he's not human. So he doesn't look at things from an emotional perspective, so he needs her there to be able to make better judgments.
Got you.
So in a way, they're both like learning from each other, right?
Grounded.
It's a really great show. Only one season. I think there's only like 12 episodes.
What's like the time frame of the episode?
Like 30 minutes. Most animes are like less than 30 minutes per episode.
I love that.
Yeah, really easy to watch.
Bingeable,
Yeah, and then another one I would recommend is the new, oh my goodness, I'm blanking. It's about the only black samurai that basically existed in
It's on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Brand new Netflix original.
Yeah, we got like soundtrack by Flying Lotus and fucking
Let's see if I can look that up.
Thundercat. Yeah.
Do you want to explain a little bit of the premise while I try and look it up real quick?
Yeah. So, there was a very famous Afro samurai way back in the day, and he rose through the ranks. And this show is basically like an anime take on him. There's like a weird mecha aspect to it that I was not expecting, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I really enjoyed the soundtrack for it, and I wish it was longer. That's the only thing I wish. It was made by a black-owned animation studio in Japan, and for both the sub and the dub in English, they had black voice actors. So that's one thing. Like, I would say black representation in anime is quite lacking, but it is getting there. And I think that's because a lot of black entertainers and artists are expressing that, like, in their music and in their content. Like, Megan Thee Stallion is literally cosplaying as My Hero Academia characters. Doja Cat. Yeah, you have a lot of this in, like, pop culture or even just, like, R&B, rap artists. Just
call you Suki, right?
You what?
Yasuki.
Yasuke. Yeah. Yasuke. Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay, so going back to that, I think the fact that something like Yasuke was made is just an incredible feat, because we're talking about like years of missing black representation in anime. And I understand it came from Japan, so they're kind of like trying to model it after the people who live there. But you have people who are like blue-eyed, blonde-haired,
right?
Like literally white-looking people. They don't necessarily
Sailor Moon,
Japanese.
You know what I'm saying?
Sailor Moon,
like literally Sailor Moon.
Walking around Sailor Venus, like it literally looks like white people. But then when you have black people, they somehow like mess that up, or they give them horrible features. Their characters don't have any depth. So one example I can give is Durarara, which is another anime that I recommend. It's pretty good. There's a character in there. His name is Simon, and he's like this, 6'5" looking black guy from Russia, right? So he's Russian. He speaks Russian. He speaks Japanese fluently, but his lips, it's always the lips. Like, just because a feature is big doesn't necessarily mean that you have to make it look like a fat oval, right? Why can't you just draw a nicely done larger nose or larger lips? And not all black people have large noses and large lips. Like, it infuriated me seeing that as like my only representation. I'm mixed in anime. And then you also had like this weird like fetishization of tan girls with blonde hair, right? So I have dyed blonde hair, but my hair's still curly, right?
Without a doubt.
I don't have white eyes, and like, it didn't make sense to me. It did not.
I understand.
So it made me really excited when I saw something like Yasuke on Netflix. There was something that came out a little bit earlier called Neo Yokio, which had Jaden Smith in it.
I didn't even know that. I love Jaden. Shout out.
I do too, but it was just so chaotic, and to me it seemed like they were mocking a lot of the tropes in anime. I think it's supposed to be taken from like a comedic stance, and I didn't realize that going in. I was like, oh my gosh, we finally have like an anime character that has like dreads and is, black in color, and I'm like, okay, let me just go ahead and watch this, and it's all comedic. And I'm like, really? I wanted something a little more serious. Again, where's the depth?
Right? Of course.
So
Yasuke is more...
It has a lot of depth. But like I said, it should have been longer because I felt like they rushed the story. Not sure if it was due to funding or
I would
what
say
happened.
Specifically just because Netflix, as a conglomerate, as a global giant, they produce content, right? And then they
it's like a machine.
That's all it is. Netflix is a machine now. For anybody who has been there from the day one, like Netflix was literally a streaming service where you got DVDs in the mail. And now they're the #1 streaming service in the world. On top of that, they have more titles than any streaming service originally created, right? So they are a trailblazer in their industry, but on top of that, they are constantly creating content for the people. So they make content for the people, and then they decide what to reproduce, what to give second seasons to, based on consumer reports. So if it doesn't do really well, then they won't give it a second season. Something I was personally very concerned about that wasn't anime is Ragnarok. Ragnarok is like it's a Netflix original show that's based in Norway. It's a Norwegian show. So the same way that she was talking about how Netflix has multiple studios that they do like collaborations with, that's what Netflix did. You know, they took a Norwegian studio and they took this show called Ragnarok and they redid a retelling of Norse mythology of Thor and Loki in modern times in this little white boy, right? And they took a whole like year and a half to make season 2, and they ended it on a crazy cliffhanger. So I had no clue whether or not they were going to make a season 2 of this show. But they did, in fact, end up making a season 2. It literally dropped like a week ago. So if you guys haven't seen Ragnarok, I've literally talked about it on my show like 3 or 4 times just because I enjoyed it so much. It's such a good show. You guys would really enjoy it. If you're not a fan of someone who like listens to foreign languages and then has the English subtitles, they have a dubbed version, you know? I personally enjoy the foreign language and then English subtitles, but that's not everybody.
Me too.
Right? I enjoy the foreign language just because like it's the original context of the show, and then the English is for
the original expression.
Exactly. And so it makes, to me, in my opinion, a little bit more real. It makes it a little bit more genuine. So I enjoy that. But Ragnarok was a really good representation of the show that I thought was not going to get renewed because it wasn't very popular. And then season 2 came out, and now everybody knows it, right? If anybody knows me, I'm on it. Like, I am on things before they're popular. I'm on things before they're a trend.
You're a hipster.
I'm the original. I'm the OG. I make things hip, right? That's what I do. I'm a stir.
Very hipster.
I'm just stir.
Violently hipster.
I'm a stir. Bro, I'm a stir. I make things hip.
Okay.
Okay? I'm a stir. I make things hip.
So now anime is officially hip. It's been on your show.
Apparently, right? This is the revolution that it needed. So I'm not always on it when it comes to anime. So I'm glad that you said that, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm on it in other respects, like Ragnarok. You know, we out here. We poppin'. Lupin. Season 2 just came out. That's another show. You know what I'm saying? It's a foreign film. It's a foreign-based show, but it has English subtitles.
Yeah.
It's dubbed, and it's such a good show. Like,
dude, if you want to talk about dubbed, or like sub stuff, I should say, because that's what the subtitles, K-dramas are super popular.
You say
K-dramas?
K-dramas?
Korean dramas.
Interesting.
I'm watching one called Vincenzo right now. It's really good. It's on Netflix.
I was going to say, where are you watching?
Yeah, it's about like this guy who was adopted by an Italian family, and he was a part of the mafia growing up, and he's come back to Korea to claim his gold. But of course, a drama, there's a lot of things that happen, and he has to do a bunch of other things before he can collect his gold. So I recommend that show if you want to watch a nice K-drama. It's about 22 episodes long, and each one is about an hour and a half. So you have a lot of content going on there.
What's it called again?
Vincenzo.
I'm probably going to watch that, guys, because, like...
It's good.
Are you telling me you got a K-drama that focuses around a Korean gentleman who was raised by the Italian mafia?
Yeah.
And then he comes back to Korea with all of that swag, and he's like, guys, I'm ready for this. I'm going to take what's mine.
The first, like, big fight that he had, it was like, what I've been waiting for. I waited like 9 episodes for this fight. Like,
I love that. I'm so excited for that.
It's super cool. I like that one, and then there's another one called Itaewon Class. Yeah, Itaewon Class. Yeah, it's really good. It's about this guy who wants to start a restaurant in Itaewon, which is like a super popular, cool place to be in South Korea.
Sweet.
Yeah,
nice.
It's like the party street, right?
Oh, okay,
there's a lot
sweet.
of good restaurants
like
too.
Rainy.
Yeah, like Rainy. Yeah, I wouldn't say 6th Street because it's a little more classy.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I also have one more recommendation. So
of course.
This one is called Michiko to Hachin, and this one has a female lead. I think it's set in a Spanish-speaking like country,
okay,
or like near desert type stuff. Yeah, and she herself kind of looks to me Afro-Latina, if not Latina at least. She's a little bit darker skin, very beautiful body. I love everything that they gave her, and also the power that they gave her. She's like sort of an assassin, but there's someone chasing after her that has Afrocentric hair. Again, she's got like the black skin, blonde hair going on, which I still don't understand. They should have just gave her brown hair. I guess it makes her interesting. Right. I don't know.
Diversity.
Yeah, I guess. She could also just be, I'm realizing this now, she could be like a mix of both of the main characters because the girl, Michiko, she is an assassin and she's trying to take care of this child that was birthed from her ex-lover. Like, he literally wanted her to protect the baby after he, like, died, or, like, he went missing. Like, I really don't know.
As long as he's a G, then it's cool.
Yeah, so they were both, like, criminals, kind of. But she's taking care of this baby, and the baby has super big blonde hair. And it's a young girl.
Cool.
Yeah. So maybe the person who's chasing after them is supposed to be, like, them mashed together. Because she's, like, this tall, like, elegant figure with a huge blonde afro. And Michiko is also tall and elegant as well. I would recommend that. I felt like that has, like, the best representation for, like, a POC woman.
Okay.
There's other ones too. Let me see here.
Hell yeah.
There's a couple people, I think in Bleach, and Carol and Tuesday. So that was a Netflix original anime, and it's music oriented. If you want something soft and fun and just like kind of futuristic, I would recommend Carol and Tuesday. It's really cute. It's about this girl who like runs away from her rich family to pursue music, and she meets this other girl who's been doing music like her whole life. Mm-hmm. They start a band together, and it's just like their journey about becoming famous musicians on Mars. Mm-hmm. And there's also a Thundercat performance in the anime. So
got you.
If I had to, I'm also a musician. If I had to make a song with somebody, I'd probably be Thundercat, because I feel like we have a lot to talk about.
Right. And then that would just correlate through the music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that people who make music are so different from people who just listen to music, right? And
I'm crazy.
That's low key it, right? As low key it is like you have to have that kind of like out of the box perspective. You have to have that like bigger than reality mindset of like, I'm not just who I am. I'm a representation of everything that came before me, as well as what I want to present in the world, right? And so people who make music, especially my boy Kaiza, aka Isaac Simlinger, you already know, he made the intro. You already know. He's my boy, right? People who make music just have that mind frame of like, I'm gonna go outside the box, and I would love for everything that's in my circle.
Everything outside of the box also resonates with you in a way that it wouldn't with others.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. I don't...
It hits a little deeper.
It hits deep, and it's like easier for you to find, I feel like.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of like magnetic.
It's like, yeah.
It's low-key magnetic. I feel like you have that attraction.
Readily presented. Like, the energy just comes to you.
And that is, it's a rare trait, you know? Mm-hmm. So that being said, Raynna, thank you so much for coming on to the show. I'm glad everybody here, I hope you guys had a bunch of notes on what you want. Samurai Champloo. If you get anything from this Samurai Champloo.
And listen to New Jobbies. R.I.P. New Jobbies.
R.I.P. Listen. So as always, Raynna, thank you so much.
Would you like to try Pocari?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is, can you explain it for the viewers?
Pocari. So Pocari Sweat is like a very popular energy drink in Japan. It's like drinking a white Gatorade, and it's like really petite in size because, you know, Japanese people are always on the go. And I enjoy it after a workout. I had a really long day today. I was out in the sun, so I brought this with me to share with you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I also had a really long day today. Once again, this is not sponsored. I got you. Yes, we got to protect the nails at all costs. I, again, was not sponsored by Bocati.
We're not sponsored.
I wanted to try it. I thought it'd be really cute, right? It's a little theme that we got going on here on Caleb's Corner, so it worked out really well. I'm excited to try it.
Yeah.
But
it's like a Gatorade. It's not alcoholic, you know. It's like a street vending machine.
Absolutely. Cheers. This is delicious. Mm-hmm. I was really not expecting it to be so.
It's very light.
It's light. That's the way. That's exact. I was kind of expecting it to be a little bit more carbonated, a little heavier. It's not. Mm-mm. It's delicious. I would recommend this to anybody.
Yeah.
After a workout is what you said you.
Yeah, after a workout or just like you're out in the sun for a while, it's literally just a sports drink, like energy drink. And it's also very popular in animes. You will see this in a lot of sports animes. They'll just have it. Sometimes it actually does say Pocari, but sometimes it's just like
a can.
Yeah, just a blue can. But you know what it is.
You know the vibes.
Now that you've seen
you
it,
know the
you
vibes.
know what it is.
We're learning things here on Caleb's Corner. So as always, thank you so much, Raynna.
No welcome.
I hope you guys had a great time. As always, I'm Caleb Kane too. I appreciate you. And this was Caleb's Corner. That's a wrap. Thank you.